Some track events are relaxed, weekend-long mini vacations. Others, like this one, are more akin to a daylight raid. Planned and executed on an abbreviated timetable, hitting a target of opportunity on short notice to further the campaign. Such was my trip to Dominion Raceway in Thornburg, Virginia, a 33-hour track raid in mid-August. I departed from Knoxville at 1 p.m. on Saturday the 11th, arriving at the Best Western in Thornburg at 8 p.m., leaving just enough time to have a snack and rewatch some last-minute video to memorize the layout before turning in early. Up again at 6 a.m. on the 12th, I arrived at the gate just before 7 by way of McDonald's for a breakfast biscuit. Tech, check-in, and a driver's meeting later, my group was finally on deck at 9 a.m. Okay, we'll make the assumption you can hear me. We are pulling up to grid for session 1 of the advanced group at this TrackDaze event on Dominion Raceway. This is my first time at this track, so I've watched a bunch of video over the preceding week. So I think I know the layout generally pretty well. It's a couple of lefts, or it's like 2.5 lefts, followed by a couple of rights, a couple more lefts, some S's, and a couple more lefts. So I do know that more than a few of those are tricky and either a very late apex or they've actually named one corner Patience, if that's any evidence as far as how late some of the apexes are, and or may require some breathing of the throttle when you might not expect it. And then one thing, all the videos that I watched, as well as some notes from, I'll have to give a shout out to Andy Hollis here for some very useful notes on Facebook through one of his articles that he's written. There's a set of bumps apparently coming into the last turn under the bridge. So I'll probably be a little bit conservative with that, especially first session. I mean, I'm going to be conservative in general in the first session because it's the first session at a new track that I've never been to, so that seems prudent. But anyway, you're going to be along for the ride with me as I learn the track, and I'll try and kind of narrate as I'm going here. But I make no promises for filling the void with words at all times because I have to concentrate some, and you know, I'm no automotive journalist, so this whole you know, talking and driving and, you know, walking and chewing gum or whatever is a learned skill, I think. Alright, we've been given the less than a minute mark at this point, so here we go. Main thing I'm going to want to do in a hurry is get this guy in the Z06 behind me, past me, because okay, never mind. Standing yellow for the first session, that's always kind of nice. Get to at least like warm the brakes and tires up and the TT1 like trucks up here. I'm going to take advantage of this slow outlap here and make sure I'm getting my eyes up and looking ahead to where I need to be. You get in the habit easily after driving in traffic of looking at the car in front of you instead of looking down the track far enough to be useful, so glasses. See how bad these bumps are here. Okay, I mean those are little yumps, and they'll be obnoxious at speed, I'm sure, but watching video online, these the concrete barriers in that chute were like hella intimidating, but I think when you're looking past them and not looking at them on a video, then significantly less imposing. What that doesn't change, though, that doesn't make them any less there. So I need to be certainly cognizant of them, if not necessarily like, in fact, actually I need to avoid being fixated on anything like that, because you go where you look, right? Brakes in their car. Looks like a little autocross section right there. Again, probably too early on that apex. Car wants to push through there a little bit. On the gas a little earlier there, I think. Missed that shift. Part of me thinks I should just quit screwing around with worrying about what gear I'm in and just leave it in the third for a lap and I don't know where. Kind of wonder if it wouldn't have been a good idea to lag back from these race trucks, because they're running the good stuff and no cats, so I'm getting the fumes in here a little bit, if I'm honest. In between sessions, it was time to explore the facility a bit. In addition to the 2-mile road course, the Dominion Raceway and Entertainment facility, also contains a 4/10 mile paved oval with a kart track in the infield. There's also a drag strip and a concert venue. For track day visitors, notable amenities include a fuel station on site with 93 and up, a spacious and air-conditioned grill and lounge area, tasty and reasonably priced food, and a gift shop. I also had time to appreciate some of what other folks were working with on the day. Let's get back on the track though, and take a look at the best lap for which I have data. A 140.4 on a clear track in my second session of the morning. So, that's two very hot sessions in the books. I will have to say, with some initial trepidation, having been watching the videos online about how fun or sketchy this track might be, I'm impressed. After two sessions, it was pretty quick to learn. I think it helps that it's relatively flat. There aren't very many blind turns, and the sight lines, except for going over the crest and the S's in the back, are pretty good. I think the turn 12, I want to say it is, the turn before you go into the tunnel, that one's a little bit tricky to convince yourself that there's as much room as there is on the exit without taking too many liberties there and ending up in the grass on the exit, which I haven't done, but I could definitely see the potential for that. The bumps under the bridge for a car on a sort of street compromise suspension, so I have KW variant 3s on the NSX, and with that level of relatively compliant damping, they're kind of a non-event, at least at the speeds I'm carrying into there. I think I'm ending up in between gears a couple of places, but that's my life forever with this car, with a super tall second and third gear. But in the small S's, I think I probably could carry better speed through there in third, but I don't think it's worth the extra shift because it's a little autocross section, so I almost have to think of it like an autocross. Like, is it worth the extra upshift and then downshift to get like another mile an hour when I'm just gonna have to toss the anchor out harder at the end of it? Or is it better just to sort of ride the top of second through there, give it a squirt into the last of the exit bend, which is a long, slow right-hander that you should probably late apex, I get the feeling that I'm probably not doing that quite right. And then I'm also not so sure about the following two-turn combination. I think on the second part of that, I'm ending up more in the middle of the track than I should be, when I should be really kind of hugging the apex on that one. Sounds obvious, but there are some places that you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. A word on the curbs. I think they've probably, since the notes that I read, I think they've done a little better with the curbs. Although some of the inside curbs are definitely still pretty prominent, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Especially the turn before tunnel turn. I could see I've hit that a couple of times now, and it's bounced the car a little bit. I wasn't going quick enough. I wasn't trying to really push it through there, so it didn't bounce the car anywhere dangerous, but just things to kind of take home. And hopefully my notes added to people that are faster than me's notes will help to help as a learning aid if you decide to come up to Dominion, which I can actually recommend at this point. It's nowhere near as sketchy looking with all the walls and barriers. I might change my opinion if it were actually raining, or if it starts raining this afternoon. I'm not sure how enthusiastic I would be at trying to push, carry any speed through turn one, going into that kind of narrowing chute of nothing but concrete. Also, if I had a car with a lot more horsepower and or less rear grip, I would be probably having to be a little bit more mindful of my throttle position coming out of patience, which is the turn 2-3 combination. Otherwise, you kind of there's nowhere that you can you're either going to hook it inside into a wall, or if you tank slapper and go back outside, it's also a wall. But most of the rest of the places that there are big hard things to hit, you should, all things going correctly, you should be pointed in a straight line at that point. So those are my thoughts so far after the morning. I'm going to go grab some lunch, and then we have one more sessions this afternoon, and then they have kind of a happy hour thing they do, which I'm not sure I'm going to partake or not, because I still have 7 hours to get back to Knoxville, and I work in the morning. The afternoon session that followed was a blast. Unfortunately, my data logger, aka my 2-generation-old Android phone, decided not to log my quickest lap of the day, a 138.8, and the only camera that recorded the deed was zoomed in to an unfortunate degree. Regardless, I'll include that session in the subsequent Just the Laps video, as it may be the most entertaining session as a whole on the day. For now though, with my synchronized chronograph ticking past the 25-hour mark, and having accomplished the mission objective for this one-day track raid, it was time to extract. I managed to get back to friendly territory without any additional souvenirs. Others weren't so lucky. That's Virginia Interstate hospitality for you. A shout out to TrackDaze for hosting a fun event, and the Dominion Raceway staff for being great hosts. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please check out the rest of my channel, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and I'll see you in the next video, if not at the track.